We feel honored to have with us today Mr. Sachin Kumar Aaras, Regional Program Manager of VMware IT Academy, and Mr. Amarendra Katkam, Founder and CEO of SmartBridge and Smart Interns. So, without taking much of your time, please permit me to start the program. VMware Tanzu Build-A-Thon is a unique challenge hosted by SmartBridge in collaboration with VMware IT Academy to introduce modern app development and deployment to student developers. VMware Tanzu enables the developers to build, run, and manage modern apps on any cloud. This program is packed with e-learning, technical bootcamps on modern app development, mentoring by experts, and a build-a-thon. The best modern apps will receive exciting prizes and recognition from VMware IT Academy. So, without further ado, let's acknowledge the presence of our chief guest of the day. I consider it as a great honor to introduce Mr. Sachin Kumar Aaras, Regional Program Manager of VMware IT Academy. Sachin is leading VMware IT Academy Program Manager um, for a long time. And Sachin has been with IMware for past 3 years, responsible for growing VMware IT Academy program in the region. He comes from a background of evangelization, creating adoption of organizations' products in the ecosystem. Prior to VMware, Sachin was with IBM India, handled multiple roles as a developer advocate, global entrepreneur program lead, academic initiative lead during his stint. So, Mr. Sachin, you are the lead now.
So thanks, Meghana. And first of all, thanks for entire SmartBridge team, especially Amar, Sandeep, and then Hemant for organizing this and leading this initiative. And I welcome all the students and educators for this session. And I'm not going to take much of time. I'd like to leave you all with a couple of thoughts. Why VMware has organized this bootcamp for students or student developers. So VMware traditionally been seen as a company which is known for virtualization, right? So it is more considered to be a backend job than the developers related work, right? So as you know, VMware in recent past 2 years, it has acquired so many products and it is looking to be a company of multi-cloud, which essentially means it is looking to be one of those leading cloud organizations which are out there in the market. So with regard to that, VMware has a product called Tanzu, where Tanzu is the name which has been given to the products, so a suite of products, right? And where you have multiple products to run and develop application on cloud. So why we have chosen modern application development? Can we share my screen for a couple of slides? Uh,
Yes, sure, of course.
yeah. So how many of you are aware about modern application development? My first question is just a thought around modern application development. Okay, can you raise your hands? You can see that there is raise hands, right? So great. So I'm seeing the count is going up. At this moment there are about let's say it will go up to 100 students in the next minute or so. So overall, in a way, as we are seeing, we as students at this moment are not aware about modern application development. In couple of years ago, any students who had knowledge towards cloud is towards a cloud application development, right? So the awareness towards cloud and cloud application development is being built in the last 2-3 years time. And the recent trend of cloud organization is that modern application development is certain thing where you will see scalability of application in a bigger way. And why is it so important? For example, if I have to mention, by 2025, most of the more than 80% of global organization will be running containerized application in production, which compared to today's number, it is about 35%. So you will see approximately 50% increase in using containerized application in production. And then by 2023, you will see half of the enterprise application will be deployed in containerized hybrid cloud or multi-cloud environments. So it essentially means that, so whoever learning application development on cloud should essentially know the crux and knowledge of modern application development. So it comprises of how the application development works on the cloud, especially using containerization, and then how you can manage the application, and what are the benefits of using containerized application, right? So these are the few points which you guys will be learning as part of this bootcamp. So what we are expecting as part of this bootcamp is, we want you to learn the concepts of modern application development and different tools involved in it. And as a process of that, we encourage you to build the application on VMware Tanzu, where it is built to build the build it is built to have the application on cloud with modern application concepts or steps, right? So this is something which has been innovative. We as SmartBridge team has put in a lot of efforts to build this whole model of Build-A-Thon, and I am sure that you all will make use of this opportunity and learn the recent latest technology which is running in the market. So that's all I wanted to share. Any questions I can take? I think you must have received a mail from Zoom account as well. If any queries are there, you have mentors, you have all the support to build the application. So we expect you to go through attend 7 days of boot camp, and after that we will open it for application development. And once we finish the application development, the steps to build the application, everything will be taught you through this boot camp. So that's something which I'm looking forward to. Happy coding learning as well, and I'm sure that you guys will build a great application in coming days. So winners will definitely get big surprises from VMware, apart from the prize money which we have announced. I'm sure you will look forward, you can expect a bit more from our end as well. So all the best. I'm looking forward for you with interacting with you all in a couple of days time. Yeah.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much, Sachin. Thank you for giving us the valuable information we all required.
Yeah.
Now, I take pride in introducing Mr. Amarendra Katkam, founder and CEO of SmartBridge and Smart Interns. Mr. Amarendra is the founder and CEO of the SmartBridge, the man with distinct vision and a fountainhead of illuminating ideas, an ideal of knowledge and experience, and not to mention, inspiration to all of us here. His passion towards building an effective learning system has made him relinquish his career in central government sector to start the SmartBridge in 2015. Till date, SmartBridge has enabled thousands of students and faculties on emerging technologies via project-based learning. He has received IBM Champion 2020, 2019, and 2018 for his contribution to the community in building emerging skills. Mr. Amarinder, you are the lead now.
Yeah, thank you, Meghna. Am I audible?
Yes, Amma, you are audible. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So first of all, very good evening, all here. We have faculty, students all over from India. Happy to see 1,300 plus participants joining this particular session, and it shows real enthusiasm towards learning the emerging technologies. Thank you, Sachin, for joining this session and positioning and the giving the expectations for the students from this particular event. Guys, I just want to set up the objectives for you all. I have seen many questions, like some students are not, I think, gone through the entire portal, the structure of the program, and some may have already gone. We have more than 1,000 students already joined the Telegram group set up for this particular program. So I will quickly walk you through the entire program structure first. Then I'll give some insights and what you can learn out of this entire program, and why you have to learn this in a project-based model. So let me quickly share my screen, Meghna.
Sure, sure. Just give me a second.
Is my screen visible?
It's visible.
Thank you. So VMware Tanzu Build-A-Thon, it's basically the learning by doing kind of model, which is built to train you on the modern application development. So as part of this program, you will be learning how to build modern applications. I think some of the students and faculty over here already built web applications and mobile applications. Uh, you may have the good hands-on experience in application development and deploying it on the servers or cloud platform. But modern application development is something different, which is futuristic, and you will be learning a lot of new concepts like understanding the concepts like containerization, Kubernetes, the microservices architecture, and you will be understanding the continuous integration, continuous development, DevOps concept. So it is packed with all new emerging technology specific aspects relevant to the modern application development. And like every company who are building the scalable applications, I can name some of the applications like you can daily life you are using applications like Swiggy, Zomato's, Uber, Ola. These are all scalable applications with a lot of the backend functionality and thousands of services included in those applications. And these are built in a modern application architecture because millions of users are using these applications, and they are giving the best performance without having any kind of crashes or anything. Like you maybe heard about recent crashes in various applications. The real recent incident I can share that is about income tax website crashes on the last date to file tax returns. Netizens complain. So and the last date there may be thousand, I mean say like lakhs of users access this particular website, but the website could not handle the entire traffic. Okay, because there may be the architecture of the website may be as scalable as possible. Like this, there are many other incidents happening nowadays because of the architecture which was there, because it's a legacy architecture. Maybe people used monolithic architecture, one tier, two tier, three tier kind of architecture. But now it's the time for moving on from the legacy architectures to the modern applications or modern architecture, utilizing the microservices and cloud native latest frameworks from different companies. Okay, so this particular program is going to help you to understand the architecture of modern applications and the technology frameworks behind building the modern applications. So we have planned this program to suitable for the beginners. We don't get into the high-end technology aspect, but it is completely designed to suit the beginners who are learning the concepts of modern applications. So don't worry, even if you don't have the full-fledged knowledge on the application backend, front-end architecture, cloud, and other things. So no need to worry. See, it will be covered, keeping you in mind. Okay, so this particular program, it is designed like this. I think some of the students have already accessed the e-learning content. The program has e-learning content. We have already provided some of the resources for the students. Like you can see here, some of the students have already completed the courses specific to the modern application development. If somebody have not accessed, please go to our website, VMware Tanzu Build-A-Thon website, and access the courses and micro badges. Try to complete these courses on the Modern Apps Ninja website, as well as there is a very good website specific to the Kubernetes and containers called Cube Academy from VMware. These are these two websites. The courses are from VMware site. Try to complete these courses in parallel to your boot camps to earn certificates and the badges. Okay. So once you complete the e-learning content, we have a 7 days boot camp now. As part of the boot camp, you will be learning a lot of concepts. So again, we have divided into two tracks, keeping again the top programming languages in mind. One is a Java Spring Boot track. All the students having Java skill sets. they can get into this track. So, and we have a Python Flask track. So where you can build application using Python and Flask web framework. Okay, so you can choose. I think already students have selected the track while registering, but we will be sharing you the separate registration and say Zoom links for tomorrow's session specific to individual tracks. So as part of this 7 days program, you will be understanding the modern apps. You will get a complete from the fundamentals. So from the fundamentals, you will understand what is Spring Boot, what is the framework, how can you build microservices, how can you access the databases, how can you integrate the external APIs to the Spring Boot architecture, and ultimately your application must be deployed on a cloud platform, right? So we have created a dedicated service on AWS called Tanzu Application Service, where you will be getting you will be understanding what is VMware Tanzu Application Service, and you will understand how to deploy your application on Tanzu Application Service. Okay, so you will build the application as build a sample application as part of this bootcamp. You will containerize that application using the Docker kind of frameworks. And finally, your containers will be deployed directly on Tanzu application service, which is provisioned for you on AWS cloud. Okay. So, and apart from that, there are many other product design specific bootcamp sessions are there. Try to attend all the sessions. So as a software developer, you may be getting into the software development sooner or later, right? So once you get into the software industry, now the entire trend is modern application development. As a developer, you should know these concepts, especially the concepts like cloud native, containers, Kubernetes, the DevOps, then microservices concepts. So it's a very much needed skills for the industry. This particular build-a-thon will introduce you to all these concepts, and you will also build a sample application which will be containerized, and it will be ultimately deployed on the latest the cloud framework. Okay, latest architecture setup for deploying your application. Okay, so you have two tracks. You're open to choose a track. I think already you have selected the track, but you can, if you want to switch between the tracks, it's okay. Today we will be sharing you the Zoom links for tomorrow's program. So, but I recommend to go with the already selected tracks. So once the bootcamp is over, then comes a project build-a-thon. This is the main important module of the program, because you can learn the concepts only when you apply. So that's why we brought up projects for you. These are some of the projects which are categorized under various business sectors like automobile, finance, retail, telecom, healthcare, education, and public welfare. We picked up some of the projects for you, and every project has a structure. We have a defined technology architecture. You have to build that technology architecture with the knowledge what you have gained through this bootcamp, and you are already having the practice on developing some of the applications, right? So with the knowledge what you have already, and with the knowledge gained through this bootcamp, try to build these applications. And on the platform, we have a beautiful collaborative environment. We have mentors for you, like who will be helping you to build these applications. They will be assisting you to debug some of the issues what you are facing in. Okay, so have a look at the projects, understand this project. So project enrollment will be starting from 21st April, basically the last date of bootcamp. So you can choose any project, enroll for the project. Again, you can choose a track based on your bootcamp. Okay. So once you develop the project, and you have to deploy that project on the Tanzu application service so provided for you. It's the kind of cloud service where you can deploy your applications with the backend runtime already existing. So that yeah, so once a project deployment is over, our team of evaluators will evaluate your projects. We identify top teams who are going to present to the jury panel from VMware side, and there are a lot of exciting prizes. Cash prizes are there, and we have different other in-kind prizes for you, and we have special jury awards, and ultimately you will get participation certificate from VMware IT Academy. Okay, so there are a lot of things in it. Don't miss out this opportunity. In future, once you enter into the software development, ultimately you are going to work on these concepts which you have learned here. Okay, so try to put your effort. It's a evening hours only. Try to attend all the boot camps, even though we are providing the recorded sessions on YouTube. So but I recommend to attend all the boot camps. Try to ask queries to the trainers. Whatever queries you have, you can clarify during the sessions itself. Okay, so yeah, I request all to attend the session without missing any session in between. You have a lot of benefits out of this particular program, and it is one of the unique program which we have launched specific to the modern application development in India. Don't miss out this opportunity for you guys. And we did a lot of backend work along with the VMware team to bring up this particular program to the students, and too without putting any cost. And this is one of the unique program, and we got a lot of appreciation from industry companies who appreciated this program, because this is a future. This is where all the students need to be headed towards the modern application development. Okay, I wish you all the best for you all. Thank you so much for joining. We have a lot of sessions going forward. Feel free to connect with the mentors, the team on Telegram group. We will share you the Telegram group link here. If you are not part of Telegram group, please join that group so that you will get, don't miss out any communication. Thank you all. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Mr. Amarendra, for walking us throughout the program. Um, on behalf of the SmartBridge, I would like to thank Mr. Sachin and Mr. Amarendra once again for kindly joining us for the event. Now, with my best wishes, I would like to hand over the session to Ms. Pradipti. Pradipti, over to you.
Hello all, a warm good evening to everyone. Hope I'm audible, right?
Yes, you are audible, Ms. Pradipti.
Hello all, this is Pradeepti. I work as AI developer in SmartBridge, and I'll be the trainer for Python track. So without any further delay, let's get started. So let me share my screen.
Just to set the context, Pradipti. So today's session, guys, you will be understanding the concepts of modern applications. We will complete the prerequisites for the going forward sessions, because the installation of Spring Framework and installation of Python and other dependencies, those things will be covered as part of today's session. And at the end, we will also have a small introduction to Tanzu services. Okay, thank you.
As we are talking about modern application modernization, today I'm going to tell you what actually modernization of like an application is, why actually we need the application modernization, how is it developed, and what are all the benefits does an organization get if they modernize this application and all. So to understand all these concepts, one must understand what actually a legacy application is. First, let's understand what an application is. So, can someone tell me what do you understand by an application? Can you please put your questions in the chat? Questions or answers in the chat? All right. So I'm getting a lot of responses from the participants: set of instructions, process and execution for a specific task, client and server medium. That's really good. I'm getting a lot of responses from the audience. I really appreciate that. Okay, fine. So in layman terms, I would say that an application is considered as a computer program that serves some or the other purpose. Tell me some of the applications that we use them daily and their purposes. So what sort of all the applications that you use in your daily life, and what are all the purposes of using it? It could be Instagram, WhatsApp, browser-based applications, desktop-based applications. That's really good. So we have so many applications like Gmail. Gmail is used for sending mails. Amazon, Flipkart are used for online shopping. Netflix, Prime. We have so many OTT platforms which are used for entertainment, right? So all these applications are making our lives easier, but we must understand what is the architecture behind it. How is it able to manage millions of users? How is it so user effective and all? First, let's talk about all the services provided by Google. So can you please tell me what are all the services that are provided, services or applications that are provided by Google? Gmail, Meet, Calendar, right? So today, these services are developed in such a way that they work independently. That means each and every service has their own infrastructure, their own database system, and also their own architecture. Though they are independent, they communicate with each other in one or the other way, right? So before 2000, if suppose an organization needs to build any of the application or any of the services of it, they used to develop these kind of services by putting all the services together in a single development environment. And the architecture they usually used to follow was monolithic. So the applications which are developed based on monolithic architecture are considered as legacy application. So I can define legacy application as an application that was written for an earlier operating system or earlier hardware platform. For example, we used to have mainframe applications, right? So those are legacy applications to the applications that are trending in today's world. And whenever the world embraced with client and server networks, Windows 3.1 applications were legacy applications. So when Windows 7 and Windows 8 was introduced, 95 was a legacy application. So and another definition could be any business software that is not internet enabled in some form is sometimes considered as a legacy application. So to give you a better example, let me show you the architecture of a legacy application with a diagram. So if you see, let's take an example of e-commerce application. So this e-commerce application is providing number of services, like it could be catalog service, ordering service, as well as payment service. All right. So this application authorizes the customers, takes an order, checks the product inventory, authorize the ships, and also authorize the audit process. So this application consists of several components, including it will have a e-store web interface for customers or some sort of store web view, along with some sort of backend services to check product inventory, authorize and charge payments, and also shipping orders. Despite of having different components, modules, and services, this application is built and deployed as single application for all the platforms, be it desktop or be it mobile. So if you develop any sort of application in this format, then you will have some sort of drawbacks. But before talking about drawbacks, let's talk about some advantages of this sort of architecture, which is simple to use. For example, you can implement end-to-end testing by simply launching the application and testing the UI with some sort of testing tools which are available like Selenium or anything. And these kind of applications are easy to deploy. So you can have a copy of the packaged application to a server. Then it is simple to scale horizontally by running multiple copies behind a load balancer, but it has some backdrops. Before understanding what are all the different kinds of backdrops, let me give you a basic example which is not related to a web application, but to make you understand what are all the issues you can have if you build an application with this. All right. So for example, yeah. So for example, let's say you are a writer and you wrote number of books. All right. So you have published number of books, series 1, series 2, series 3, series 4, series 5. So you've completed your books and you're ready to publish it onto, I mean, you're ready to publish onto it, and you want to provide some sort of provision to the book so that users can use it. So what you do is you just buy a closet and stack your books accordingly. So series 1 in the end, series 1 in the bottom, series 2, series 3, series 4, series 5, series 10 in the up, series 100 in the top. All right. So now let's see what are all the issues that as a writer I will have. The first and foremost issue is, like, if suppose I want to update any sort of the content in the series 1. All right, now the series 1 book is in the bottom last row. So what I have to do, I have to take each and every book from the closet, and I have to do the updations, and I have to put it back. Now, when I am updating any sort of a book, consider all these 100 books as services. So likewise, you have services for catalog service, order service, and payment service. Now, these services, these books are considered as service, let's suppose. All right. Now, in order to update any content in that book, you have to alter the positions and alter everything, right? So such kind of thing, such kind of challenge should not be seen whenever you build an application. So if you want to update it, you should be independent, it should be independent from other services as well. So here, as there is interdependency, so the updation is alternating the other entities as well. That is the first one. And now second one, what is the second issue is, like, first suppose if you have any sort of termites on your closet, that means it's a worm or a bug. Now whole of your books, all the books which are stacked in the closet, will get lost, right? So your application should be worm free. Whenever you build any sort of application, that should be that should have a great security. So right in this system where your closet is it's a different one, so there are termites and your books are getting spoiled. In the same way, if you're not using proper infrastructure or proper tools, then such kind of security attacks or virus attacks can happen to your application. That is the second one. And the third one is, for suppose your books are, like, you have a stack of books, right? Now some of the users, now you have 2 to 3 copies of your books, and one of the user came and took your books. All right, now second user came, third user came. So now you are out of your, you're out of serving the other people. So whenever new person comes, the person should either wait until the book comes to the publisher, or the writer should again update the copy of it, right? So which is not possible. Again, he has to write the hundreds of books. Am I right? So these are all the issues that that will be faced by a publisher. Right now, in application terminology, let's consider this is a closet. All right, in that closet I have stacked all my services, be it front end, be it database, be it anything. Now tell me, what could be the issues that my application could have? Can someone tell me? Yeah, bugs, fine. Deadlock, less speed, traffic, updation becomes difficult, good. Clogged, traffic. All right, so now let's understand the threats or drawbacks in regardance with the application architecture. All right, now let's look it into one by one. The first one is maintenance. As I already told you, in monolithic architecture, all the components are built in a same instance. So the code base that you've implemented for such system will be large. All right, now understanding such kind of code base will be a challenging task. Let's take a scenario where let's take a scenario where the developer who has developed this application has resigned. Now we have a new developer who is taking care of the build application. As the application code is very high, I mean, as the application code is so much, the challenge faced by the new developer is he cannot understand the logic, or he cannot check check any sort of issues if happens to the code base, or he cannot do any sort of updations quickly or correctly. Now the next one is overloaded. So overloading may be caused due to few factors like sudden spikes in the traffic. For suppose, whenever too many people attempt to visit your website at the same time, it causes your server to become overloaded. An example of this is like whenever cricket sale is going on, or whenever some sort of big billion, like some sort of sales like big billion days goes on, then the website crashes soon after spikes in the traffic. All right, so spike in the traffic can be short term, but this affects your own business reputation and also linger your revenue. Then overloading can also happen because of computer viruses or worms. So when a large scale number of browsers or computers become infected by a virus or a worm, it can cause abnormally high traffic patterns that disrupt normal service operation. So when these overloading happens, this slow ups your start time and your application will no longer run. Then the other one is reliability. So reliability is like it is measured in the terms of how efficient your application is with respect to any sort of updation, with respect to any sort of glitch that has happened to your application. So in this regards, let's suppose there is any sort of memory leak or bug in any sort of module, then this potentially brings down all the entire process. So since all the instances of the applications are identical, this bug will impact the availability of entire application. All right. So then the next one is scaling. So if you want to update the version or any other new requirements, it will be somewhat difficult to do in the application. For suppose there is more overload to your application, there is a heavy traffic to your application. All right, now your application should be scaled to that requirement. If it is not happening, then your system crashes. All right, so these are all the different drawbacks that comes into the picture when you build application with the help of monolithic architecture. All right, so these I hope you've understood what are the different kinds of drawbacks that you get whenever you build application with monolithic architecture. Now this is the time of hour where the monolithic architectured applications, which are considered as legacy applications or legacy systems, need modernization from time to time. Right. Now just think, there would be a reason why your current computer uses the latest software instead of the same old software that was used 10 years ago, right? The reason is the current computer system has more power, more capabilities, and more functionalities than the older one. So you cannot, as if you want to buy any sort of a computer or any product, you don't buy an outdated product, right? You buy a new version, new technology, a new version, new product with high specifications and high configurations, right? Even it is in the form, even that will be same with in context with the web application as well. All right, now basically there is a survey which is done by Flexera. It says that majority of the products have a life cycle of just 5 years. So for every 5 years they update their versions, they update their tools in order to get par with the technology. Today you can start your business with modern applications, but tomorrow or after 10 years or after 15 years, that would become legacy to the market at that particular time. All right. So, but there are some companies who are leveraging the legacy systems. If suppose they are leveraging legacy applications in their legacy architecture in their applications, after a span of time, that gets attacked with bugs. It will be having some sort of critical issues, and there will be no one to update or no one to solve those issues, and then that affects the revenue of a organization, right? So to avoid all those things, one must need to understand what legacy modernization is and how they should modernize their application. There are so many companies, be it Amazon, Uber, Netflix, all of these companies have started their applications with monolithic architecture, but now they have shifted to modern application. In next few minutes, I'll also talk about a real-time example where a company used and is benefiting from modernization. Right now, you have understood what are the issues that is accompanied with the legacy application. Let's understand what actually legacy modernization is. Legacy modernization is nothing but a process of transforming or converting a legacy system into a modern infrastructure to reduce IT costs, improve flexibility, improve collaboration, and also consistency. So it is nothing but just updating your software with the old business, with strength of old business application with modern day technologies, and you will be having some sort of software architectures which are useful to build a robust platform. According to a research, companies that modernized legacy software successfully reduced the overall cost of business operations by more than 13%. And it was also noticed that businesses with modern legacy systems were able to increase their annual revenue by at least 14%. All right. Now, let's understand why actually people should go for modernization. All right. So, the first and foremost point is, whenever you want to choose an application and you want to invest into the business, that becomes your very foundation for the business. So, if you develop your application with right tools and right systems in place, you can accomplish business objectives and also reach your company's full potential. Legacy system modernization empowers your IT department so that they can work more efficiently as well as intelligently. So they would no longer need to waste time on manual integrations, fixing the bugs, etc. As you're leveraging an advanced architecture, this also can manage your business growing needs and also expand its operation. So it will give your business an enhanced throughput, capacity to manage the increased scale and also the increased growth. So you should understand why one organization must should modernize their application, right? So let me give you a real time example of a company who achieved a lot from modernizing their application. So it is Uber. All right. So as a startup, Uber needed only few service features like connecting drivers or connecting riders or billings and payments. So the application need to offer a single service in a single city, which is San Francisco, right? So that's why they have built their application as a monolithic app. At that time, this app was able to meet all the business requirements, implementing core business functionality and also offering a clean code database. Then Uber expanded into more cities. Like whenever it started growing its business, they started to introduce new products as well as new services. So the application started to grow rapidly. And that's when maintaining the monolithic system became a real challenge. So whenever there are any new updations or whenever there is any traffic, then your systems may not respond to that, right? So here the Uber also faced the same issues. So what are those issues? First of all, they have to deploy their code base with new features and new services. All right. Deploying means, like, as it is a single instance with different kinds of as it is a single instance, it was very they faced a lot of challenge to deploy it in other manner, and which was also hampering the integration. So as the services are dependent with each other, whenever they are redeploying it, whenever they have added some services and whenever they are redeploying it, they have seen so many hamperings while integrations. And the other drawback was that only developers who had been working for a long time, as they are unable to understand the code base and all, they just made some sort of features in the code and they have started redeploying. It gave some sort of it hampered the integration. And the other backdrop is like the code was developed by Uber employees who were from long years. Now it was it was very challenging for a new developer to understand the code and to make changes to the system. So a single chance became like sometimes it became a huge responsibility because of the dependencies between the apps as well as components. So what decided is they decided to break up the monolithic into multiple code bases to form a service oriented architecture. So as it has a large code database, they have divided their code bases into service oriented architecture. We'll talk about service oriented architecture in few minutes. More precise, into different sort of microservice architecture. So since software built as a microservice is broken into small independent services, each component can be written its own language, use its own framework, and also has its own database. So this helped Uber solve all the problems in development process. They also developed continuous delivery and also accelerated their business growth. So migrating to such kind of modern application solved lots of problems. At the same time, it also caused few of the challenges. So a few of the challenges could be obviousness. That means Uber had over 500 services, each structured in its own way, and sometimes they are written in different programming languages. So finding the appropriate service and using it became very difficult for them. So the solution they found was using Apache Thrift, which is a binary communication protocol for defining and creating services for numerous languages. So this thrift helped them simplify the management of 500 services. Then they had security issues, that is safety issues. Various network connections and application program interfaces are used for the communication between components of a micro-based application. They became very less secure. So thrift, so they have used some sort of binary communication protocol, right? So the thrift also solved this problem out of the box by binding service to a strict contract resilience. To achieve resilience of the components, Uber engineers wrote latency and fault tolerance libraries that ensures clients and also can deal with the failure. So this is how Uber has converted its monolithic application into the modern application by shifting its architecture to service oriented architecture. Now you've understood what modernization is and why modernization is required. Let's understand the journey of transformations from designing to development. So these are the transformations that I would like to discuss now. Whatever the application that you build, that application should have an architecture, should have some sort of infrastructure, and should have some delivery strategies. There have been gradual changes in the world of application development, and all these changes have been happening to make the process of developing applications much more efficient and smoother way. The architecture, infrastructure, as well as the delivery methodologies have got transformed in a variety way. So let's understand that. Before that, let's understand what actually application architecture is, what is infrastructure, and what is delivery. An application architecture describes the patterns and also the techniques used to design and build an application. So the architecture gives you a roadmap and best practices to follow when building an application, so that you end up with a well structured app. So you'll be designing all the common entities and what are all the communications that you should need in your application. Everything will be decided in the architecture itself. As a part of an application architecture, you should have a front end as well as a backend system, right? So the front end development is considered with the user experience of the app, while the backend development focuses on providing the access to the data, services, and other existing system that make the app work. The architecture can be considered as a starting point or a roadmap for building an application, but you'll need to make some sort of make some sort of choices while implementing the code or implementing the architecture. For example, if you want to choose any programming language, so you can choose Python or you can choose any other language, so that implementation can be decided later. All right. Now, after your design is done, after the whole architecture is built, now comes your development stage. So, the development stage requires infrastructure. As you know, every application will have an effective user interface, right? Which makes easy for a user to interact. If you don't have any sort of user interface or so, user might have to input their request in a text or a code, or instead of filling in the fields, they used to write some sort of programming, and they had to send the request. So infrastructure is something that exists beyond the GUI. So front end is just used for front end is based on some sort of beautification and all, but infrastructure is beyond that. So it is a complete application infrastructure which has number of components that supports all of the features, services, and also functionalities offered by the application. So application infrastructure can include computational as well as operational infrastructure and components that are necessary to manage the development, deployment, and also the management of enterprise application. So once your development, the application is developed, so you have developed your application, and now comes your delivery phase. Delivery phase is nothing but a way of delivering your application from a data center or a machine, which can be a physical or a virtual. So it means like getting your application into production. So testing, everything will be taken care by the delivery phase. So now let's understand how these transformations have been occurred. As I already told you, this is the monolithic architecture, like what they used to apply in before 2000, and now applications are using SOA and microservices. Now let's understand this. So as I already told you, software developers and organizations previously designed the application entirely in a monolithic architecture. All the entities for building an app were combined into a single program which is running on a single platform. So we have also discussed the issues with this kind of architecture, right? Now, from this architecture, after several years of trying to find the best way to improve the application architecture, developers discovered the new architecture to develop the apps, and that is called as service oriented architecture. With this architectures, apps have distributed their services and are interrelated. For example, web services, databases, and front end services are separately developed and they are deployed onto single server. So the app is not one big chunk file, but it was divided into different groups. After this SOA, people started using microservices. This is the popular technology today. So microservice architecture, the methodology, this actually has the collection of small services or the microservices. For suppose here a service is having n number of deliveries. Now in microservices, this single services again broke down into smaller services. So this made application developers test the microservices independently and deploy them independently. So this is the transformation in the architecture, right from your monolithic to microservices. So this is the way. And the second phase was happened in the infrastructure. Usually the monolithic applications were deployed in a physical server. All right, so they used to after deployment, what they used to do is they used to buy physical servers and they used to run the application, which is very costly. So buying a server is not an easy thing, right? So they used to put so much cost and they used to deploy the services. After this, organizations as well as developers later adopted the use of virtual machines. So virtual machines can be considered as the computers in form of a software. So these are the computers which are in the form of a software. So what they did is they have created number of virtual machines in their hardware environment, and they used to run the applications on their virtual machines. So this became less costly than purchasing a physical server to run or test the application. After discussing this method, almost every organization and developer migrated running apps on physical server to virtual machines. In recent years, applications are now running the applications on the cloud after development. So the infrastructure as a service platforms like AWS or Microsoft or Azure have made it even cheaper for developers and organizations to deploy and test their apps. So with these cloud platforms, one can pay for the hardware they need, and for the period they want to decide to run their application. So running apps of these kinds of platforms makes the development and the deployment easier, and you can also scale up your application. So this is the transformation that has been happened in the infrastructure wise. Now the next one was regarding the delivery. Most legacy apps were developed using the waterfall methodology, where several phases has to be undertaken, like analysis, designing, and also implementation, and also the testing. For suppose you are building an application for a client and you're almost done with the application development. Now your client asked you to add some more features to it. Now, as a developer, you have to again analyze the code, you have to redesign the architecture, and then you have to implement, and then you have to test it. So again, another update is to be implemented. Again, the developer has to go through all these steps. So this is a long project. This is a long process, and the app development process is quite lengthy as well as costly. All right. Now then, the application delivery process came after this was agile development technology. So agile development is a technique which follows iterative as well as incremental development of application. Suppose the same scenario has happened here as well. And as it is iterative, you can update, modify, or change your system design at any stage. This kind of delivery enhances the time required for developing, testing, and updating some sort of features, proceeding to the next stage. I mean, before proceeding to the next stage. And then after this, the new application development methodology which is DevOps, has gained popularity. With this DevOps, the software development section works hand with the software development section will take care of developing, and operation section will take care of deploy, operate, and monitor. So as there are two different entities for developing and delivery process, the time consuming for deploying an application or developing an application is reduced, and also it is cost effective. All right, so these are all the different kinds of transformations that are happen in the modern application, right? So now that you have understood all these things, now it's time to understand the benefits of the sorry for the technical issue. Let me share my screen. Yeah. So now you must understand the benefits of the application modernization. So what are the benefits of application modernization? These are all the things that will be, I mean, these are all the advantages that an organization will have if you implement modernization in the application development. The first and foremost thing is, like, let's talk about business agility. Legacy systems and monolithic applications have a very vast set of disadvantages that it slows down the business operations and cause employees to spend much of time in dealing with those issues. So organizations tend to lose many clients due to the lack of agility and productivity, which also, so based on these lacking of productivity, this root back to the incompetent systems most of the time. So business agility is an expected outcome when a system is upgraded. Employees perform better with a modern application that is more consistent and reliable. So modernized cloud based applications takes the mind of employees off the maintenance issues and facilitate the remote working capabilities. So hence more productivity and more business agility will be achieved. And the next one is the enhanced customer experience. Basically, good customer experience is a critical factor in determining every business success, right? So however, providing a good customer experience while maintaining and old legacy system is very difficult. So by shifting your application to a cloud infrastructure, the burden of maintaining old applications and guiding clients through their term is lifted off. So business now can quickly retrieve any records, any data that they require. Customers can also easily navigate their way around these modern applications. Hence, customer relationships as well as supports are also improved along with their experience. Now, it is also generating new revenue streams. New revenue streams. Often, business aren't able to provide new functionalities and services to their clients as their systems are not flexible. However, app modernization may allow you to create new services that provides value to your clients. So, due to the system's flexibility and cost effectiveness, new revenue systems or new streams can be generated by the application. Coming to the security, your modern applications will have better security. So, basically, cybersecurity is a very prevalent concern today, right? Especially with outdated systems. The importance of systems with high security measure is increasing day by day. However, with legacy applications, cybersecurity concern grows as the implemented security measure needs continuous monitoring and repeated updates. With the help of this application modernization, you can use the newest libraries and also strategies to tighten the security. Seamlessly you can integrate security measures, and also you can avail complete advantage of cloud based security. If you're providing all these things, then you can minimize the cyber security threats. So this avoids continuous monitoring and also saves time, and as well saves time, as regular updates to the security features are automatically done. Hence, application modernization offers much better security as compared to legacy application. And then coming to the meeting compliances. There are several compliances which every business has to follow depending on the industry they work, or depending on the organization they work. So not meeting any sort of compliances properly can cost a company in massive amounts of money. However, with legacy systems, it is very tough and time consuming to ensure compliances are met, as everything has to be done manually. So, app modernization can ease the process of this meeting compliances, as the processes are automated and the updates are regular. So these updates ensure that all compliances are seamlessly met. So in case of any breaches, or in case of any other memory leak, it is easier to deal with them if the system is modernized and not monolithic. And coming to the automation, application modernization usually facilitates automation in terms of deployment, in terms of testing, or in terms of application development. So seamless integrations, APIs, all the meeting the compliances and enhanced, it also automates the enhanced customer experiences. So because of these automation, organizations are saving costs. So it is all possible. So this automation is possible just because your application is modernized, and you have increased staff productivity. As I already told you, as the system is automated, and the staff can work on other developments than rather than fixing bugs and updating the versions, etc. So these are all the benefits of the application modernization. Now, you have understood what actually modernization is, why modernization is required, and how the modernization is getting transformed, right? Now let's understand what are all the patterns in an application modernization. The patterns in application modernization could be rehost, replatform, as well as refactor. So host is nothing but it's a kind of lift and shift kind of system. Replatforming is re-architecting your entire application, and refactoring is nothing but it will be a middleware between rehost as well as replatform, right? So now let's understand all these things in a better manner. So what is lift and shift in this approach? So whatever the application that is in the physical server or on premise, or whatever the application that you've built, that will be migrated to cloud based environment. So in this sort of approach, you will be no you'll do you'll not do any sort of significant changes in the code or in the application architecture or in the data flow or authentication mechanism or code. But the major considerations in this lift and shift migration are the computing capabilities, the storage capabilities, as well as the network requirements of the application. So these requirements should match with the resources provided by the cloud provider. As rehosting, as it is just lifting and shifting, it will require only less time and fewer resources to execute. So it is the fastest approach of all due to the lack of data and code modification. So rehosting is not always the most effective way to go when you have to use this kind of system. The rehosting approach works for simple application with few integration and dependencies, as well as application you need to migrate quickly, minimizing the downtime. All right. Now, the other approach is refactoring. What do you understand by refactoring? Refactoring is nothing but the process of running your applications on the infrastructure of your cloud provider. So that is, you will need to completely re-architect your application so that it will suit the new cloud environment. So this approach involves modifying your existing applications, like breaking down your language or breaking down your large code base to smaller chunks, changing the architecture, and also the configuration of your application. It is a bit complex and costly approach than the above mentioned approach. Since we are making different kinds of application modifications and changes, it must be ensured that the changes do not impact the external behavior of the application. So you have to use refactoring whenever you choose for a long term project where you can afford to wait to reap the benefits. All right. Then comes your replatform. Replatform is nothing but a platform which is acting like a middle ground between the two strategies we have covered above. So it's similar to rehosting application on the cloud, but it does involve some sort of modifications of the application to take the advantage of the new cloud infrastructure. So there are some common modifications that are typically performed during replatforming. For example, changing the way program interacts with the database to benefit from automation as well as the elastic database infrastructure. And the other one is enabling better scaling and leveraging your resources in the cloud environment with minimal code changes. So there are several, so these are the several ways that you can transform your legacy application into a modern application. All right. So now in order to have a modern application development for your app, you must understand some sort of technology terms. I like discuss regarding it in few minutes, but mostly the time for rehost is less and the cost is less, and it is not and it is just a lift and shift kind of thing. Basically, people won't go for this approach as this refactor is most costly and time taking. People doesn't even go for refactor approach. But in the organizations, mostly people go with replatform, where there will be only some modifications, and the deployment time and the cost of deploying your application with this approach is very less. So these are all the concepts regarding the modern application. Now, you must know these technologies to be learned for application modernization. So in order to build an application, you must get acquainted with some of the technology concepts, which is cloud computing, microservices, containers, orchestration, as well as automation. So let's understand one by one. All right, now let's understand what's cloud computing is. Generally, cloud computing refers to accessing different kinds of services provided by the cloud. To make you understand it in a better way, let me give you an example. All right, imagine you build a house, and you must get electricity for it. You can either choose to generate your own electricity or buy electricity from the power company. So generating your own electricity could be accomplished by getting solar panels or a windmill, which requires a lot of money, space, as well as effort. What if the weather does not cooperate, or what if the panel breaks? Then everything is upon you. Now imagine, this is one issue. Now imagine you have a huge housewarming party with strobe bulbs and some sort of foggy machines, and you need more electricity than your solar panel can supply. So you must buy more. It is hard to say how much more power you will need. So it is likely you will overspend on solar panels. After the party is over, you will certainly have a more solar panels than you would normally need to power the house. All right, you could also just buy your electricity from the power company. You can rent it on monthly basis. So for a monthly fee, the power company ensures you'll always have the exact amount of electricity you need. So it will immediately scale up the electricity whenever you have big parties, and immediately it scales down whenever you have uh, whenever you are on vacation or you're not using any power in the house. So due to this pay as you go nature of the service, you are now never overspending. So cloud providers operates just like the power companies. Many companies do not have or do not want to spend the money, resources, or time on building, maintaining their own data centers, or building their own infrastructure. So they rent from those cloud providers to develop their application. So in cloud computing, again, there are different kinds of techniques. One is software as a service, platform as a service, and infrastructure as a service. So first, let's talk about software as a service. Basically, software as a service is an on-demand service that offers application software to users. So cloud providers use some sort of softwares, and we make use of them based on our requirements. We just use them, but everything will be handled by the cloud itself. For example, the SaaS products are Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Drive, and Microsoft Office. So let's take a scenario where you want to order a food. So in order to understand what actually software as a service is, let's understand. Okay, let's understand with an example. Okay, now you want to order food tonight. All right. Now you can have your food for dinner for for 3 ways. The first one is, like, you can directly go to the restaurant and you can order the food. So there you're not doing anything. You're not cooking. You're not spending money on cooking. You're not spending time. You're just directly going to the restaurant, ordering it and having it. So everything, the process making, the recipe making, everything is handled by the restaurant itself. So whenever you use any of the cloud software, you just directly use the service, and you just directly grab the service and work with it according to your requirements. And now next comes your platform as a infrastructure as a service, platform as a service. So platform as a service refers to the service which is made up of programming languages, execution, environment, as well as operating systems. So a web server or a database. So all these things are provided in a single platform so that user can use them and user can use them and build their application. So the developers can use them and build their application, and the developers may not worry about the underlying infrastructure, making the process or significantly quicker. For example, like if you want to cook for yourself, all right, now what you do, if you want to cook for yourself, what you do, you order some sort of ingredients or necessary things from any of the delivery shop and you cook it, right? So here also platform of a service is providing you some sort of infrastructure and you have to build your application on your in your own way, right? Now we have another thing which is infrastructure as a service. So in this infrastructure as a service, you will be provided with virtual servers, strong storage capability services. I mean, strong storage capability thing, and also some sort of networks on rental basis. So you can build your own applications as per your need. So you can go to cooking classes and you can work with, I mean, you can learn something and you can cook it for yourself, right? So this is nothing but called as an infrastructure as a service. Now let's understand it in a brief manner. For suppose if you want to access any sort of application but you don't want to manage the infrastructure, then you have to opt the software as a service. If suppose you want to group a number of services for development but you don't want to maintain the underlying operating systems, then you go for platform as a service. If suppose if you want to if you want to have a complete control over the virtual machines in the cloud, and then you must go for infrastructure as a service. Now whenever it comes to the cloud, there are different kinds of clouds. One is public cloud, private cloud, as well as hybrid cloud. Public cloud is a cloud computing that actually delivered via internet and is shared among different organizations. So some of the largest public cloud providers include Alibaba Cloud or Amazon Web Services or Google Cloud or IBM Cloud and Microsoft Azure. Then you have another type of cloud which is private cloud. So private clouds are loosely defined as cloud environments which are solemnly dedicated to a single end user or a group. So where the environment usually runs behind that user or a group's firewall. So all clouds become private clouds when the underlying infrastructure is dedicated to a single customer with completely isolated access. Examples, Cisco, SAP, etc. All this comes under private clouds. Now you have some other sort of cloud which is hybrid cloud. Hybrid cloud is any environment that uses both a public as well as private clouds. So it acts intermediate between public as well as the private. So this is what all about your cloud computing is. Now let's understand the next concept, which is microservice. So whenever I talked about monolithic architecture, basically that has been converted into system oriented architecture, and then it became a microservice architecture, right? So microservice architecture is an approach to application development in which a large application is built as a suite of a simple and single modular services which are loosely coupled, that is, which are interdependent. Each module supports a separate business logic or separate business goal, and also uses a simple well-defined interface to communicate with other sets of services. So instead of sharing a single database as a monolithic application, each microservice has its own database. So having a database per service is essential if you want to benefit from microservices, because it ensures loose coupling. So by implementing microservices, you can have many advantages. What are those advantages? Microservices actually enables the continuous delivery and also deployment of large complex applications. It will have better deployability. Services can be deployed independently. And also it enables you to organize the development effort around multiple teams. Each team is responsible for more or single service. So each team can develop, deploy, and also scale their services independently for all the other teams. So each microservice is relatively small, comfortable for a developer to understand. All right. And the other and the other one is microservices eliminates any long-term commitment to a technology stack. And containerization is also an approach to the software development in which an application or services or its dependencies and its configuration are packaged together as a container image. All right. So all these services can be containered. I mean, can be containerized. So these microservices can be containerized with the help of another system, which is containers. So these are the cloud symmetric methods of packaging, deploying, and also operating the applications and workloads. So most of the benefits that we get if we use containerization is that your applications will be scalable, your applications will be portable, and they operate efficiently. And there is another technology term that you should get aware of, which is orchestration and automation. So orchestration and automation is nothing but orchestration and automation in software development, nothing but it is automating many of the operational tasks which are associated with the containers. So in a software development cycle, you'll have deployment, you'll have testing, you'll have everything. So all these things will be orchestrated and authorized and automized with the help of a concept called Kubernetes. So we'll talk about containers, Kubernetes, and how do we containerize these apps in the next few sessions. All right. So these are all the concepts of application modernization. So whenever if you want to convert your legacy application into your modern application, these are all the things which you have to be included. So first, the mobility should be achieved. So mobility is nothing but transforming from one server to other server or anything. And then you should have a DevOps architecture. So development should be taken care by someone and operation should be taken care by someone. And you should have some sort of microservices. So a big chunk of code is divided into different kinds of microservices, and then it will have a good security. You'll also implementing some sort of data modernization. So whenever you implement all these things, then you can consider that your legacy application is becoming a modern application. All right. So these are all the concepts that I would like to discuss about modern application modernization of web application. All right, so let's have a break for 10 minutes, and then we'll talk about some other some other concepts, like what we're gonna learn in this session and what are all the software dependencies that are required and all right. So if you have any doubts, we'll Hello guys, sorry there was a technical glitch from my side, so that's the reason I just stopped the flow. So let's take for 10 minutes of break and then I'll address the gathering regarding the doubts or anything. All right. So after doubts clarification session, we'll see what are all the things that we will be learning. All right. So exact at 7, we'll resume the session back. All right, guys. So hope everyone understood till here. Like how the transformation has been happened. Yes. Now, if I ask you questions like what is the difference between monolithic application and modern application, will you be able to answer the question? Can someone tell me the difference between monolithic and modern application? Yeah, tell me what is it? Okay. Monolithic is tightly coupled. Okay. Modern application is cost effective. That's fine. That's good. Okay. So tell me what are all the issues that monolithic architecture might have? Yeah, one is traffic issues, one is bugs, overloaded, reliability, maintenance cost, scalability. Like, that's really good. Now, what are the different ways of modernizing your legacy application? Okay. Rehosting, refactoring, and replatform. That's really good. Can you please explain me what is rehosting? So what happens in rehosting or lifting or lift and shift? Do you change any sort of code modifications to it? Yeah. All right. Now, what do you actually physical server to a clone? Okay, fine. That's really nice. And what about refactoring? What actually is refactoring is? Okay, that's really good. All right, that's really good. So now I hope everyone is back. It's already 7 now. Now let's just ask if you have any doubts regarding the session. Do you have any doubts regarding the session? Any sort of doubt you can ask me so that I'll know. Good, Jagan. Ma'am, why we please ask. Actually, the chat is going up and down. One second. I'll 1 second. Please stop putting your queries. Someone is asking questions, so as you're replying, I'm unable to understand the question. Can you put your questions in the QA? Sorry, Jayabharati, I don't know Tamil, so all right. So first, okay, fine. I'll talk about these things again. All right, I'll talk about all these things. Fine. Fine. So there are 3 ways of modernizing your application. Yeah, I'm telling it, Shruti. I'm telling again. So there are 3 patterns in application modernization. Jayabharati ma'am, actually I'm not aware of, actually I'm not aware of Tamil, so if you have any friends who knows this, you can take assistance from them. I'm sorry for that. Yeah. So now, whenever you want to convert your legacy application into a modernizing application, then you must follow 3 things. One is rehost, the other is replatform, and the other is refactor. So let's understand rehost first. Rehost or lift and shift. Lift and shift is nothing but an approach which will require lift and shift kind of approach. Now, what do you understand by this lift and shift? Whatever the code base that you have, you will not do any sort of modifications or any sort of changing the codes, etc. All right. So you directly put this into a server. Okay, for suppose you are creating an application, all right, which has very less services. For example, let's take e-commerce itself. So in that e-commerce, I would like to append the services of ordering itself. They'll just place an order, that's it. They'll just place an order. There is no payment gateway. There is no maintenance of managing the inventory, or there is no other services. Just the ordering system. Now that is a very simple application. All right. So for this simple application, do you need any sort of modifications? Do you need any sort of modifications? Do you need any sort of modifications in that? It just has only one service in it. All right. No. So directly you can put, actually your application is made on new technology, new system, new technology, new framework, and new architecture. Okay, so you use microservices is nothing but communicating with other entities with some sort of APIs or so. But anyhow, we'll learn about this in next few sessions. Okay, so now you no need of implement any sort of code change or so, right? So such kind of applications can be directly deployed onto the cloud. Okay, so hope you understood the lift and shift kind of applications. Yes. Now let's understand replatforming. Replatforming is nothing but, first suppose you have created your applications in your environment which are not in par with the cloud environment, Now what you do, you deploy, you change your code, the entire architecture, the entire architecture and the entire integration, so that those can be developed in a cloud-based environment, right? So this is what nothing but called as replatforming. So replatforming involves converting your large code into, if suppose your application is having n number of services, so those services are to be divided into small chunks and they are to be deployed onto the cloud. So this is what changes in code, changes in architecture, changes in integration, changes in database connectivity, all these changes will be there in the replatforming. All right, so once it is done, you can deploy it in the cloud. Now after refactoring is that. Now after refactoring, you have replatforming. Replatforming is nothing but it is in between re-architect or refactor or the lift and shift. So here what you do is you will do just minimal changes to the cloud. All right, and you will be deploying onto the cloud. So this is what replatforming is. So these are all the kinds of approaches with which you can deploy the application, right? Now as the time consumed for rehost is less, and cost is less, and it is not having any sort of updations, mostly people don't prefer rehost, but they prefer replatform. And refactor, again, it is very expensive, and you have to change the whole architecture. So that's the reason people don't afford refactor. All right, so these are the different kinds of approaches with which you can modernize your application. Now there are different kinds of strategies for there are different kinds of technology that you must get acquainted with. One is cloud computing. Hope everyone has understood what cloud computing is, right? So cloud computing is nothing but using the services of a cloud on basis of as per you go feature. So whenever you, for example, I've said about an example of a house, right? So if suppose you have relatives or anything, then the current usage of your house will be increased. So at that time, the generation of electricity in the house should be higher. No ma'am, we don't need no, we don't need to use all these three patterns to change into the modern application. So any of this approach will be used. Yeah, so cloud computing is accessing their services and using and paying for it afterwards. So there are three different kinds of services, which is SaaS, software as a service, platform as a service, and infrastructure as a service. Now software as a service is nothing but everything is developed by the company itself, but you are enjoying the features of it. So the features, for example, you can take Google Docs, Google Docs, Google Sheets, Gmail, Drive, everything can come under software as a service. Now let's look at this platform as a service. So platform as a service is nothing but they'll just give some sort of environment. They'll just give some sort of environment where you can upload the content to pre-configured servers. So here you don't need to install anything, or you don't need to maintain the server, or you don't need to operate the system software. And we have another service, which is infrastructure. First, suppose if you want to take care of your application individually, then you go for infrastructure of a service. So it will give some sort of servers, like virtualization servers, where you can build your application like the way you will be building in your desktop or anything. Every cloud, whatever the cloud that we have, Google Cloud or any cloud, all those clouds will give these kind of services. For example, in Firebase you have MLKit. machine learning kit, so that comes under software as a service. So you have different kinds of things to develop your applications, right? So every cloud will have all these three feasibilities and facilities. So as I already told you, if suppose you want to just you want to just use a service but do not want to manage, you go for software as a service. If you want to, if you would like to have a group of web service for development but don't want to maintain the underlying operating systems, operating system is entirely a different concept, ma'am, which doesn't come under platform as a service. So what actually is it will provide you some sort of yes, Firebase itself. Am I audible now, everyone? Yeah. So whenever you want to have control over everything, then you need to go for infrastructure as a service. All right. Now let's understand microservice. As already told you, a large code database will be divided into different chunks for every purpose, and those will be I didn't say that Firebase is a platform as a service. Whatever the cloud technology or whatever the clouds that are available, they offer all these kinds of services: infrastructure as a service, or platform as a service, or software as a service. So in Firebase, we have something called machine learning toolkit. So we are using that service and we are developing our application that is considered as a software as a service. Right. Right. So as I told you, microservices will divide the data into chunks, and each and everything will have different sort of architecture, different sort of languages, and different sort of frameworks. Now coming to the containers. All right. So containers are nothing but containerization is nothing but an approach where you will package all the application into small images. All right. So we will know what actually containers are, what is a container, how do you configure your app into the containers, etc., will be dealt on the third day. But for now, just imagine containers are used for packaging, deploying, and operating applications as well as the workloads. All right. So if you use these containers, the advantage that you will have is it is scalable, it is portable, and also the operational, and also it is operational efficiency. All right. Then you have orchestration and automation. All right. So orchestration in actually software development refers to automation of many of the operational tasks associated with the containers. So whenever you are packaging your applications into container, then those operations will be automated by the orchestration with the help of a service called Kubernetes. So whenever you want to scale up your container, then this orchestration will provide some sort of scale up. If suppose your application is not if suppose the application is not having any sort of traffic or so, then it automatically scales down the application. So that will be taken away. All the automation, necessary will be taken care by your orchestration and automation. So all these containers and orchestration and automation, you will learn about them in brief on third day. All right, so these are all the different concepts. Okay, so loosely coupled in the sense, for example, I have talked about the Google, right, in before. So Google is providing some sort of different kinds of services. All right, so uh, Gmail or Google Meet or anything. Now, if you want, if there are any, like whatever the, if suppose if you want to update any of the service which is provided by Google, for suppose if you want to update service for maps, that is not affecting the other services like Gmail, Drive, or something else. The reason is they are loosely coupled. There is no interdependency on each other. Loosely coupled is nothing but it will not have any sort of interdependency. It will be working on its own architecture, on its own code database. All right. Now, coming to what is DevOps. So actually, I have talked about the application development phase, right? You will have architecture, infrastructure, and delivery. Am I right? So architecture is nothing but designing your app. Infrastructure is nothing but developing the application with the services that you require. Am I right? And delivery is nothing but you are making your application ready for the production. So when your application gets ready for the production, whenever it is tested well, whenever your application is performing well and all. Okay, now development phase will be taken care by developers. Development cares will be taken care by developers, and operations like testing, monitoring, and uh, monitoring and some sort of other operations will be taken care by operations team. So DevOps is actually divided into two names, that is development and operations. So development will be taken care by development team and operations will be taken care by operations team. That is what DevOps is. Is it fine, Kausalya? Yes. Any other doubts? All right. So now, yes, we will use Dockers for containers. We'll talk about Dockers and containers in the next few classes. All right, Abhay? You'll understand about containers and Kubernetes in next few sessions. So that'll give you a better understanding regarding it. All right. Will the recording of this class be shared with us? All right. So now, PPTs may not be shared. All right. So let's get into the next phase, which is you Actually, you can see the recording in the YouTube, Abhay. So you can just go through that. Okay, so now let's understand what actually we gonna build in this 5 sessions. All right, so at the end we will be developing a job application portal. We'll be building a job application portal and we will be hosting it on the Tanzu application service. All right, so this application portal you'll have user management, you will have job management, and you will have email service to send the notifications. Okay, so now what actually this architecture will have is, you'll have some sort of database, you'll have an user interface, and these services will get communicated with the help of REST APIs. So I'll just tell you the flow. When first users visits the page, after user visits the page, then he can log in and log in and log out using the user management console. After login, he can see what are all the jobs which are being provided by the company. So user can apply to any of the jobs. Once the job is applied, an email regarding that job application will be sent to the admin, and at the same time whenever you log in, the login welcome login message will be sent to the user. All right, so you will also have some sort of database. Here we will be using MySQL database. So where the information of user will be stored in one database, and information of users job applications will be stored in another database. So here all of the, yes, sure. API is nothing but an application interface. All right, so in order to talk to any of the microservice or any of the server, then you make use of this APIs. So you can consider that as a HTTP protocol or any sort of protocol with which you can communicate with the service. Yes, Hardik. All right, so this is the architecture that we're gonna build even for Spring Boot as well as for Python. So there are some sort of dependencies or software applications that you must install before going into it. So first, here the database that we are going to use is MySQL, and this MySQL will not be installing it in the local systems, but we will be using the remote MySQL softwares. All right. For Python, we will be using Flask, and for other, they'll be using some other framework. Spring Boot is a different framework, but for Python, we make use of Flask. MySQL is a database which is used to store the data of the users. You can use any sort of database, but here we have opted for MySQL database. You can also Flask is a web framework with which you can build applications in Python. So that's the reason, and Flask is very user friendly, and it will give a good start for the beginners to work with web applications. So that's the reason we are using Flask. All right. Yes, let me show you what are all the dependencies or softwares that we need. Yes, of course, it needs code. Django can also be used, Mohan, but for this, we are going with Flask itself. Devansh, not an issue. Even though you don't have any sort of knowledge on MySQL, you can learn in these sessions. So REST APIs work with some sort of protocols like get, post, put, and delete. All right. So with the help of these requests, these APIs work. Yeah, you can use it. If you are very much versatile with React, you can use React with Flask. All right. Yes, from tomorrow we'll start with Flask. Whenever you are, so why do we need two databases? So Aditya, actually we are creating some sort of microservices, am I right? So whenever I spoke about microservice, each microservice will have a different database and different architecture and different thing, right? So in modern application, you'll have different databases, different as structure, different architectures and different structures. All right, one would be also suffice, one would be also suffice. You can use any of the framework Aswant, but for this session we are going with Flask. Yeah, we have to make a web application and we have to containerize this application. So container, here we are giving some, I mean here as we are containerizing your app becomes a modern app. Yes, both the things will be communicating with each other. All right, so this is what we're gonna build, a basic view, guys. Java will be taken care by Abhishek and Sandeep. We do have Abhishek and Sandeep in this session as well. All right. Yes, the course will be from scratch. So let's first install all the dependencies and everything that are required for the next sessions. All right, guys. I'm showing it to Uma Devi right now. So first, let's create accounts in my remote MySQL. Please go to remotemysql.com. I'm putting this link in the chat window. Yeah, you can Tangaraj, but please do coordinate with the coordinator so that he will send the appropriate link for the next few sessions. All right, so first we need account on free MySQL, remote MySQL.com. So go to remotemysql.com. Varun, you will get a separate session link every day, so you can join in that Java session from tomorrow. Whether it is a Spring Boot or whether it is Flask, all the two tracks must have accounts in remotemysql.com. So please for modern application building, Linux would be of great use. But any software you can develop your operating system, because of this modernization, your apps can be configured with any sort of operating system. All right. Yes, it is free of cost, Arjun. Now please go to https remotemysql.com. Please go to remote. Yeah, you can use Oracle also, Anshuman. Now please click on login and click on sign up. That's okay, Devjyoti. You can do that from mobile as well. It's just the account registration, right? Please click on create account. If you have already downloaded MySQL server, you can also work with it, but it's your wish. But we are working with remote MySQL, so please do sign up for that. Fine. Because of traffic, 1,300 people are using this, right? No, it's for everything. MySQL is a database which is used by any of the framework. All right, let me tell you the process of registration. After the session, you can get registered with. First one, yeah, you can also use XAMPP server for hosting, for starting your MySQL applications. Yeah, you can use Postgres SQL for Flask also, Mayuresh. You can use any database. It could be MySQL, or it could be Oracle, or it could be anything. No, please do create your accounts in remote MySQL. Please go to the section https://remotemysql.com. Now, second point is to select login. Click on login. As the server is busy, please do it after the session. We may use the same DB with different tables, Aditya. Click on login. Select create account. Yes, it is. Fourth one, select create account, give the details, then verify your email. Just log in, guys. That's it. Do not go to php myadmin, or do not go to anywhere. All right. So once this is done, once you have created your accounts, now let's go to SendGrid. SendGrid is an email service. So in the architecture, if you see, you are using some sort of email, right? You are generating some sort of notifications through the help of email. So to generate notifications, we are making use of SendGrid. So please log into SendGrid. User with this key does not exist in database. Let me create another account, guys. Create an account. Wait. So let me also show you, guys. Registration is successful. Please check your mail. Now go to your mail. Go to your mail. Open this, click on confirm email. That's it. You have created the account. I'll just put it in the chat window, Monica. You can go to that. Thank you, Bridge Kishore. And I request everyone, if suppose you are an educator, please do rename your names with professor or anything. And if suppose you are a student, please do rename your name with student, so that I can understand who is faculty and the student, please. So see, so your email is confirmed, so you'll not get any sort of errors like done confirmation. That's it. And if suppose you try to log in with login, okay, now just give so my account is logged in. So maybe you are logging in with PHP MyAdmin or so. So if you do that, then you will get these errors. All right. So I've got logged in. All right. So this is how your remote MySQL will look like. So once this is done, go to SendGrid. So please follow all these steps. I'll putting these steps in the chat window. So after the session, please do complete this. From tomorrow, I'm talking, Hardik, not now. Now, let's create an account in SendGrid. Search for SendGrid and click on SendGrid new account. So I'm just putting the sign up thing in your mail. Sign up URL in the mail. Signup.sendgrid.com. Signup.sendgrid.com. SendGrid is used for email notification. So in the architecture, I have talked about email notification, right? As soon as user logins, then he'll get an email. I mean, users gets registered, then an email is sent. Yes, automated email. Okay, just refresh it, Siva. As many of us are using it, it is taking time to upload your information. Maybe now click here, create an account. I mean, give your account name, give your password. So password should be 16 digits. Make sure you give 16 digits and make sure you remember the digits. Click on I am not robot. Accept the terms of services and click on create. Go to signup.sendgrid.com. Give the information. Click on get started. So after clicking on get started, no, not an issue. It will work with your Gmail also. Just give random data. That's it. Just enter the random data. That's it. Any random data you enter, Srinivas, whether it is a student or whether it is a developer or anyone, you can get registered for this SendGrid. So just give the random data. Done. Once it is done, then open your email. Once it is done, open your email. So a confirmation email will be sent by the SendGrid. Open this. Yes, Deva Kumar. Now click on confirm email address. You have to give two-way authentication, guys. Minimum like a select 1,000 or something, not more than that. Saharsh, please refresh your mail. Yes, click on review security. Just wait for a few more minutes, Saharsh. Aditya, as I have already created an account and I cannot show you the process. Now scroll down. Yeah, please wait for a few minutes, Lokanathan. You'll get it. Give all the information. Do not skip anything. Give random values. For example, if you want to give a company name, give anything like yeah, like your college name, your college website. College name and college website can be given. Yeah. After that, open your mail. You'll get an email from SendGrid. Click on get started. Is everyone over here? Click on get started. Click on S, continue to FA. Now click on text message. Click on text message. Shraddha, give your college name in your in place of company name. Himansh, please wait for few more minutes. Once the traffic is like reduced, then you can get a mail from it. We'll try to do that, Nitya, but as many of the students are having many of the students are having their colleges and many of the professionals are having their office work, so we have put this timings. Click on next. Give your phone number. Harini, you can view this in YouTube, so please do watch it in the YouTube. Yeah, you can give any role. You give student, not an issue. Now you might get a activation code or the OTP. Put your OTP over here. Click on next. Do not click anything, just yes, should give 2FA. After that, a pop-up will be shown. Now continue to 2FA and then give your mobile net, your mobile number. OTP will be generated. Put that OTP and everything will be done. So I'm writing the steps of creating account in SendGrid. Navigate to signup.sendgrid.com. Yes, it is necessary. Whenever you want to communicate with the SendGrid, then you must be the authorized person. So in order to be in as an authorized person, yes. Put your college website, Mansa, to give your details and click on create account. Third one, give your details, random details, and click on submit. A verification mail will be sent. Open verification mail and click on security check. So it will ask the security check. Select text on SMS. Sixth one, reply. Kausalya, what was your question? Actually, everyone are talking, so I missed your question maybe. Asuwat, please wait for a few more minutes. Heyman, can you put the link of YouTube video? No, you will have a mail something like this, Chandana. So you'll have a mail something like this, confirm email address. Once the confirm email address has been clicked, then you will be logged into then you will have to click on review security. Sorry, review security. No. Wait for some time, Sterling. You'll get that. Whose ever data is not yet got uploaded, then those users might not get the messages. Please wait for some time, for 1 hour or so. Still you don't get a message, then re log in with another account. All right. No, yeah, so you have to check text, select text on SMS. Company name can be anything. Give your college name, guys. No need, Pooja. Let it be. That means you have created your account. Saharsh, wait for a few more minutes as the traffic is heavy. You're unable to do it, but I'm putting all these things in the chat window, all the steps in the chat window. Please do refer after some time. All right. Now, for Python for the people who are using Python, yes, select text SMS. Please download Anaconda. Please download Anaconda and install it. Yes, for only Python and Spring Boot. Hemant, can you please send the YouTube link again? Please follow this documentation to download Anaconda. Please follow this documentation to download Anaconda, and by tomorrow I request everyone to this is only for Python, guys. This is only for Python. Whoever is gonna attend the Python sessions, they might install Anaconda softwares. Yes. So now I will hand over this session to either Sandeep or Abhishek, so that they'll tell what are all the softwares that are needed for tomorrow's session. We are going to use Spider. Yeah, you can use PyCharm as well.
Thank you, Pradipti.
Yeah. So Abhishek, you can ask the students to install your system. So it's based on the operating. One second, Abhishek.
Yeah.
Operating system, you can choose the MSI file. It could be 64 or it could be 32. If you already have Python, then no need of it. But if you have PyCharm, then not an issue. Yeah, VS Code will also be fine. Whoever is not having any sort of Python ID, please go to Anaconda and download Anaconda software. Okay, you're from the first year, Alekhya. Don't worry, we will make you understand from the scratch. So, but a minimum knowledge on Python should be needed. So please do get acquainted with the Python skills. Yeah, VS Code is also fine, but if it is better if we have the same common platform. Anaconda is a package which is used for developing Python programming and all, which has different kinds of tools for developing Python programming. Yes, if you have Python, but Python IDE is not a user friendly kind of thing. You can download Spider or PyCharm. Don't use Jupyter Notebook. We will be using either PyCharm or Spider. All right, fine. So now yeah, you can use VS Code also, Mayuresh. That's okay, Chandra, not an issue. PyCharm is also fine if you are very much versatile with the tool. No need. Anyways, now I'll hand over the session. It's already time for closing the session. So I request Abhishek to tell what are all the softwares that the attendees are supposed to download for Java.
Yeah, so thank you, Pradipti.
Yeah.
So good evening, guys. Let's just wrap up the installation of Spring Boot within 10 minutes, okay? Yeah, let me just share my screen. Right, I hope you can see my screen, right? Yeah, great. Okay. So let's just dive into the installation of Spring Boot. Okay, I'm Abhishek. I'll be dealing with Spring Boot track for you all. So the prerequisites, we actually prepared a document on what you actually need to install to work with Spring Boot. So I'm going to share this document link with you. I'm going to post it in the chat box. Please refer to that. Yeah, I have posted it. Please open that document and you can follow the steps. So there are mainly 3 prerequisites for developing Spring Boot application. So first one is you need to have Java installed in your computer. So here you can see, right? So first one is step 1, installing Java in your computer. So for that, we've already given the link here to download the JDK, right? For this bootcamp, in Spring Boot track, we'll be using specially Java version 11. So I recommend you all to download Java version 11, and here's the link. You can click on this Java JDK link here, right? Yeah, so I hope you can see, right? So from this website, you can just go and you can scroll down to the bottom. You'll find Windows x64 installer. So just click on this link. Okay, you have to accept the terms and conditions and then click on it. So you will be asked to log in into the portal to download it. So you have to create your account at Oracle, right? And you have to download the JDK. Yeah, so I hope you can see, right? As soon as I enter my credentials, I'm getting a pop-up to download the JDK. So you can click on save file. Yeah, for 32-bit systems, actually it's not supported. So please, select the version based on your operating system. So if you have 32-bit, please select the 32-bit version. If it's 64-bit, please select 64-bit. So based on your OS, you have to select the version to download. Yeah, so basically this is not required to the students who chose Python. Right? So this is only for the ones who chose Spring Boot track. All right. So let's just continue. So after you download the JDK, so it's just getting downloaded. Right? I already have one version of it downloaded previously. Let me just open that to you. I guess Pradipti has already covered, all the installation related to Python. So yeah, even though if you have another versions of JDK like JDK 1.8, etc., I recommend you to download JDK 11. Okay, let me just show you. Yeah, so right after you download it, and you'll be getting a file named like JDK followed by 11.0.10. So this will be your JDK version. So you have to just run that, right? So since I already have it installed in my system, it's asking me to reinstall it, but I'll just say no. So for the ones who did not have JDK 11 installed, please click on install and complete the procedure. So if you get any doubts while doing it, I already given you a YouTube link so that you can follow it and install Java JDK 11, right? Still, if you get any errors while installing, you can post your queries in the Telegram group, right? And next we'll proceeding to the Sts Ide. Okay, Sts is basically stands for Spring Tool Suite, right? We'll be using that for developing web applications using Spring Boot. Okay, so first you got to go to this website, right? So spring.io.tools. Okay, so if you can scroll down, you'll be finding 3 options that installs download Spring for Linux, Mac OS and Windows. So based on your OS system, click the one, right? So mine is Windows, so I'll be clicking Windows. Right, and then you'll get an option to download. So click on save file, and then it start downloading. So once you finish downloading it, you have to extract it. So let me check whether I got it previously. Yeah, so I've already installed it. So let me just go to that.
Hello.
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah, guys, am I audible? Hello. 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 Hello.
Yes, Abhishek.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, I hope I'm audible, right? So after you click on download for Windows button, and then you'll be getting a prompt to save the file. Click on save file. Okay, and then go to your command prompt by typing cmd, right? So let me just, I hope you can see the image here. So just go to your command prompt and type this command here, right? You actually have to navigate to the folder where you have downloaded the Spring Tools IDE, right? So where you have downloaded, you have to navigate to that folder. So if you have downloaded in the downloads folder, you have to go to it, or if you have downloaded in desktop or other folder, please navigate to that folder. And after going to that folder, please check whether the Java is already installed or not. So to install this STS, we need to have Java before installing the STS IDE. Why? Because this STS IDE is basically available as a jar application. So to run any jar application, we'll be needing JVM, right? So only after install this JDK, you'll be getting a JVM. So that's why you need to have Java installed before installing this STS, right? So please check the version of the Java by typing the command Java followed by space -version. So you will be getting output similar to that. So if you got some kind similar output similar to this, then Java is successfully installed. So if you're not getting output similar to this, then there might have been some errors while installing the Java JDK version, right? Yeah, so I hope you can refer this document. I'm just skimming through all the topics here, so because we have already, the time is up.
Yeah,
Right?
sorry, Abhishek, sorry to interrupt. So you've already shared the document with the students,
Yes,
so they'll follow it. And I request every student and educator to give you a feedback in the link which is provided by Sandeep. And I request Sandeep to provide the feedback link again for this session. For Python Flask, install Anaconda. Please do give your feedback and lead the session. Yes, you can, Nidhi. Yes, Vijay Lakshmi. So if you have already installed Anaconda, Flask will be installed. It's a default package that comes with Anaconda, so no need of you installing Flask explicitly.
Excuse me, Praditi.
Yes.
I have just one thing to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys. So I hope you got the document link, right? I'll share it again once here. Okay. So please refer that, and if you still got any doubts while installing, just post it in the Telegram group. Okay. Yeah, that's all. Yeah, you can take over the session, Praditi.
Yeah. Yes, guys. So you can use PyCharm or anything for Python development. So I guess we have provided the links, the prerequisites link. So please do complete all those things, and then we'll move. We'll we'll see tomorrow regarding the installations if you have any problem. So with this, I would like to conclude the session. Yes, Sweta, you can, but please do coordinate with the coordinator so that you'll get the proper links for Python as well as Java. We'll also mail Telegram link to your mails, maybe, or tomorrow we will give you the link in the chat window. You can join the Telegram. Yes, Mohammed. Both are heavy softwares. Probably you might have your username is not yet confirmed, so please do log in. Please do register with another email. And I request all the participants to give your feedback through the link which is given by Sandeep. Pip install Flask. Or you don't know what? Fine, guys. If you don't know who the coordinator is, just mail regarding your shift off track to the email hemant@thesmartbridge.com. I'm giving you the link. So he will take care of it. Yes, you can, but please do mail about your track changing to Hemant at the SmartBridge. Please mail your. Yes, now I would like to end the meeting. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. But please do fill the feedback form. Ritik, actually, tomorrow we'll start with Flask basics, and then we will be building an application afterwards. After we build the application, we actually containerize that application, and at the last, we'll be deploying that application on the Tanzu server. So this is the whole thing that we will be delivering in this 5 days. Yes, I'll provide it, guys. No, the same timings for Java as well as Python. Yes, if you deploy it on Tanzu application, yes, that will be live. It's already shared, Murugan. Or if you can directly go to SmartBridge YouTube channel, you'll find that link right away. You will be programming Python and Spider. No need of if you have any of the Python IDE, then that's fine. So if you have Anaconda, no need of PyCharm. If you have PyCharm, no need of Anaconda. Tomorrow at 5 sharp, I have already, you can please look at the YouTube link to see what are all the dependencies that are required for tomorrow's session or the next few sessions. You can see the recordings in the YouTube. Please go to our SmartBridge channel. There, excuse me, there you'll find all the videos. Hemant@thesmartbridge.com. Hemant@thesmartbridge.com. Anyways, guys, thank you so much.